environment that we come from is not always the best environment. Sometimes we have to reevaluate the circle and situation that we come from. I want us to go from having a mindset where we have these negative thoughts and transition these thoughts to positive thoughts. When I started this was at one of the lowest moments of my life. I went through so many trials and tribulations, and let me tell you this, every single day when we wake up, every day we have about 50,000 thoughts that go through our head. Out of those 50,000 thoughts, 80% of those thoughts are negative. And I'll tell you why. Because when one bad thing happens in our life, our mind is trying to make meaning of that bad experience, trying to make meaning of those emotions. So every single day when you have that one bad experience, your brain starts playing what happened yesterday, what happened 2 weeks ago, what happened 3 weeks ago, what happened 4 weeks ago. So what we have to do is we have to learn to condition and train our minds to think about all the positive things that we have going on in our life. I want y'all to do me a favor while we're here. I want y'all to do me a favor, and I challenge you this. I want us to get to a point when we leave this place to relearn or reprogram the way that we've been thinking. I want us to reevaluate our environment, reevaluate the situation that we've been placed into. So there was a story that my mentor had told me. So my mentor said this. He said one day there was this old man. This old man was walking. And as he was walking, he saw this group of elephants. And these group of elephants were behind this little fence. And he wondered, why are these elephants escaping behind this little fence? He then realized this, that there was a rope wrapped around the leg. So he went to this caregiver, he asked the caregiver, he said, why aren't these big elephants escaping? He said, we did a trick. When they were young, at their weakest and most vulnerable form, we put this rope around their leg. There's so many people right here sitting in this place where somebody has put a rope around your leg. At your most weakest, most vulnerable stage, someone said you weren't beautiful enough. Someone said you weren't smart enough. Someone told you at a point in your life that you had some aspirations and dreams in your life, and someone said this, you cannot accomplish those dreams if they put a rope around your leg. I remember the first time when someone put a rope around my leg was when I was in the second grade at the most weakest and most vulnerable time of my life. My father went to the penitentiary, and my mom was losing everything. And I remember walking to school, and when I was walking to school, I had my head held down, and I saw this old white lady right on the whiteboard, what do you want to do when you get older? I was lost. I was confused because there was nobody in my community that had a career job. So when I looked at people that came from where I came from, they were doing criminal activities. When I turned on the television, and people that were successful black men, they were either dribbling the ball or scoring a touchdown. So I was lost. I let everybody else control and dictate my narrative. And so what I ended up doing was, I put on my paper, I'm going to the NFL. I looked to the right of me, this little boy said, he's going to be a doctor. This little girl said, she's going to be a lawyer. So I remember I was sitting there nervously as my teacher was going around the classroom. As she got to the little boy to the right of me, she said, what do you want to be when you get older? He said, I'm going to be a lawyer. She said, you're going to do excellent at that. That would be a good career for you to do. When she got to this little girl right here, she said, what you want to do when you get older? I want to be a doctor. She said, that's a good career. You do excellent at that. When she got to me, and I said I want to make it to the NFL, she looked at me, and she said this, pick another dream, because only a small percentage makes it to that dream. I want y'all to understand this. At that moment, she put a rope around my leg. She tried to tell me that I can't do what I wanted to do. She tried to tell me that my vision and my dreams that I had for myself was not good enough, that I needed to pick something else. As I ended up getting older, and my mom went to jail. When my mom went to jail, me and my brothers had to go to a group home. When we went to a group home, I remember the first day, and I was sitting there crying. And as I was crying, I realized one thing. that nobody was coming to save me. I had to wipe away my tears. That was the first time in my life where I started tugging at that rope. And as I'm tugging at that rope, what I realized was this: I was still weak. I wasn't strong enough. I didn't believe in myself. I let everybody else around me say, you're stupid, you ugly, you wear these bummy clothes, you can never do what you want to do. And I'm still trying to tug at that rope. And what I realized was I was still in my environment. And because I was in my environment, what happened was I was still hanging around my cousins who were over here doing what they were doing, my friends who were doing what they were doing. And when that happened, I ended up catching a case. And when I caught that case, I had to realize this: I can either make a decision or a choice right now. I could be like my father, sitting behind this big yellow door. Only time that they open this door is when I had to leave and they had to give me permission. Or I could build my own legacy. So I had to make that decision. And what happened was, I had this quote that I live by, and the quote goes like this: you first have to save yourself before anybody else can save you. And that's what I did. I had to save and rescue myself. So what I ended up doing, I ended up going to school, and I ended up going from 0.0 to 4.0. And I want y'all to understand and watch this. Understand this. When I ended up saving myself, what happened was my high school football coach ended up taking me in. And as I got older, I started tugging more and more and more at this rope. And I remember the first day, 10 hours after I moved into their house, my best friend called me. And he said, Shamawn, we're about to get in this fight, pull up. I said, Coach, speak up. I'm about to get in this fight, drop me off. He said, if you leave this house, you can never come back. And it was at that moment where I had to make a decision. I could either walk out this door, a door that God has already closed for me, and go back into the environment that placed me in horrible positions or situations, or I could go in this room where there's freedom, there's new beginnings, there's new opportunities. So I made a decision. I broke free from that rope at that very moment, and I decided to live. I decided to lead, inspire, and validate my existence. At that specific moment, I want y'all to understand this, that sometimes the environment that we come from is not always the best environment. Sometimes we have to reevaluate the circle, the situation